Good afternoon. My name is Sinai Crenshaw. I'm with Yellow Cedar, and I'd like to interview you. Is that okay?
Yes.
Okay, cool. So, my first question is, what do you think about the current surge of rising prices? How has that affected you?
Well, it has impacted me
Mhm.
greatly, as a matter of fact, because my son just moved back home to the Virgin Islands. And he came with my two beautiful granddaughters.
Oh.
Yes. And so they are transitioning. And so he lived with me in my household with my husband and I. And so you can imagine that that was once a household of two.
Mm-hmm.
And now a household of
4?
yes, plus two, so six.
Plus. Mm-hmm.
And so it has impacted me because, when you're talking about the price of eggs,
Mm-hmm.
gone from probably what, $4
To now,
for-
like 13,
to now about
18.
$12, $13.
There's,
And so-
you get 18 eggs, it's like 20.
It's like 20, right?
Yeah.
And so obviously I would have to not only buy one carton of egg, but
Mhm.
now sometimes two.
Yeah.
Because it's 6 mouths now that you have to
Mhm.
feed. So it has personally impacted me because usually with most people they have a budget
Yeah.
of what they spend with groceries.
Mhm.
And so when the price goes up, everything else you either have to cut off doing something that you're accustomed of doing
Mhm.
just to now upkeep these groceries.
Canceling
You know,
subscriptions.
Yeah.
Getting rid of stuff that you don't need or trying to sell
Yeah.
stuff. I mean,
Yeah, and so it's everything because it trickles down. It trickles down. So it's not only eggs, so it's the eggs, and so it's like you say, it's the subscriptions. It's everything,
Mhm.
and so clearly that's definitely something that I'm hoping that we can. I don't know. It's gonna be a while. I think it's gonna be a more situation where it's gonna get worse before it gets better.
Yeah. Do you know anybody in your life that has been affected, like heavily or even in small ways by it?
Yes, yeah. That's why. I mean, I think that it's almost everyone.
True.
It's almost everyone that's affected.
Do you think that there are any solutions that people watching could take to try to cut down on spending and try to make things easier for themselves?
Well, my solutions. I mean, for me,
Mm-hmm.
I have tried to, because we come from a 2-car family,
Mm-hmm.
and so my husband and I have tried to do the 1-car thing.
Yeah.
Where he drives, he drops me to work. After work, he picks me up, and that helps. But of course, that savings now, it's still so hard to save that savings because now you have to put it
Towards
other things, put it into. So certainly there's a lot of solutions that you could incorporate into your life depending on your situation, and that's one of the things that I was able to cut back on, which was gas for 2 vehicles, traversing the same distance. My husband works 5 minutes away from my, not even 2 minutes away from my job, and so it only made sense, if we could both ride together. That's one way where we
To
could.
and from, save gas, save money. But even then, that gets spent on other things.
Even then,
increases.
yes, it's an another thing. So everyone would have to use their creative minds and get creative, in what they're doing. Luckily, even with the job now, we're able to save on clothing because we're able to wear polo shirts. You have a uniform we have created on our own, and we wear the polo shirts, and that definitely cuts down on having to go and spend money on clothes for work.
Mhm.
It cuts down on laundering your clothes,
Yeah.
you know, all of that. You know, if it's a simple polo shirt versus, you know, putting on
Mixing and
matching and
outfits,
mixing it, you know.
wash
So
all of those clothes.
yeah. So it will take some creativity, you know, to come up with ways where the impact is not, you know, so great
Mhm.
as though now it becomes mentally
Yeah.
exhausting for a lot of people, you know, where they could, you know, actually lose their way because of all of this, you know, price gouging.
Do you think that eventually we can try to reach a stable where everybody's happy? Like the companies are happy with how much money they're earning because they're never gonna be happy with how much money they're earning. But like, you know,
Yeah.
at least not complaining about it. And where
Right.
people aren't drowning in the costs of everything. Do you think that we could reach that balance at some point, or do you think that the way things are, it's just gonna keep rising?
Yeah, it's we probably can reach it, but it will definitely take, you know, greater mind our legislators and all of that.
Mhm.
I think because we're on an island, we will always be unique to the states.
Yeah.
You know, because just of how everything, our groceries, everything, the gas, everything has to be imported in,
Mm-hmm.
and so we would always be at a disadvantage.
That's right.
You know, in terms of that pricing never balancing out, you know. And so this is the perfect example where you really can't you can't depend on your government. You have to make those personal choices within your family as to how you are able to balance out your finances and, you know, be able to be on a good footing, like I said, where
Yeah.
mentally you can be able to, you know, balance that and take care of your family and, you know, your work, your children, your grandchildren, and still be able to, you know, put food on the table, pay your electric bill. That balance definitely, I would have to say, would definitely be more personal to each family, more so than looking outwards. It's more looking inwards in your household.
Having a personal plan
Personal,
that's
yes.
customized to each
Yeah.
person's living.
Yeah, yeah. And that's basically because of the island life, you know.
Everybody's trying to live big instead of living within their means.
Yeah, you see, and so the bag of apples, it'll always cost more
Mhm.
than the bag of apples in Florida and Atlanta. It would always cost more. I don't see how we're able to mitigate that,
Mhm.
to make that a flat line.
I mean, we could try to start producing our own stuff.
We could have definitely started producing our own stuff, but then that's a whole other,
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah.
To produce our own stuff, to get the farmers involved, we gotta see.
I mean, with all the
Yeah.
chickens running around,
Yeah,
start getting your own eggs.
right. Well, yeah, and I'm sure there's a lot of people trying to do that.
I mean,
There's a lot of people trying to do that, and you know, sometimes it just becomes a survival of the fittest. You know,
mhm.
who's gonna run down those chickens? Who's gonna run down those chickens? You know, yeah. So, you know, it's just a unique situation, but
Mhm.
you know, hopefully it doesn't get all of us, any of us, to a breaking point. You know.
Hopefully we all come
So-
out of it alive.